the storm at sea. Paul sailed for Rome. Before very long, a wind blew down from the island. It had the force of a hurricane. It was called the Northeaster. The ship was wrecked and destroyed. Because Paul believed in God and His Word, no life was lost. There may be a storm in your life, but if you believe in Jesus Christ and take God at His Word, He will save you, even if your ship is wrecked and destroyed. We see in Acts chapter 25, 26, and 27. 3 days after Festus took over his duties in the province of Judea, he went from the city of Caesarea to Jerusalem. The chief priests and the other important Jewish leaders informed Festus about their charges against Paul. They were urging Festus to do them the favor of having Paul brought to Jerusalem. The Jews had a plan to ambush and kill Paul as he traveled to Jerusalem. Festus was a Roman governor and a prosecutor in Judea. Felix was a Roman prosecutor of Judea. He was also appointed as governor. Sometime later, King Agrippa and Bernice came to Caesarea to pay a visit of welcome to Festus. After they had been there several days, Festus explained Paul's situation to the king. "There's a man here who was left a prisoner by Felix. And when I went to Jerusalem, the Jewish chief priests and elders brought charges against him and asked me to condemn him. But I told them that we Romans are not in the habit of handing over any who are accused of a crime before they have met their accusers face to face and have had the chance to defend themselves against the accusation. All they had was some argument with him about their own religion and about a man named Jesus who had died. But Paul claims that he is alive. I was undecided about how I could get information on these matters. So I asked Paul if he would be willing to go to Jerusalem and be tried there on these charges. But Paul appealed. He asked to be kept on the guard and to let the emperor decide his case. So I gave orders for him to be kept on the guard until I could send him to the emperor. The next day Agrippa and Bernice came with great pomps and ceremonies and entered the audience hall with the military chiefs and the leading men of the city. Festus gave the order, and Paul was brought in. Festus said, "King Agrippa, and all who are here with us, you see this man against whom all the Jewish people, both here and in Jerusalem, have brought complaints to me. They scream that he should not live any longer. But I could not find that he had done anything for which he deserved the death sentence. And since he himself made an appeal to the emperor, I have decided to send him." On the 14th night, we sailed drifting through the Mediterranean Sea. About midnight, the sailors suspected that we were approaching land. So they threw a line with their weight on it into the water. It sank 120 feet. They waited a little while and did the same thing again. This time the line sank 90 feet. Fearing we might hit rock, they dropped 4 anchors from the back of the ship and prayed for morning to come. The sailors tried to escape from the ship. They let their lifeboat down into the sea and pretended they were going to lay out the anchors from the front of the ship. Paul told the officer and the soldiers, if these sailors don't stay on the ship, you have no hope of staying alive. Then the soldiers cut the rope that held the lifeboat and let it drift away. Paul stood among them and said, men, you should have followed my advice not to sail from Crete. You would have avoided this disaster and loss. Now I advise you to have courage. No one will be lost. No one will lose his life. Only the ship will be destroyed. I know this because an angel from God, to whom I belong and whom I serve, stood by me last night. The angel told me, don't be afraid, Paul. You must present your case to the emperor. God has granted safety to everyone who is sailing with you. So have courage, men. I trust God that everything will turn out as he told me. However, we will run aground on some island. Paul said, if these sailors don't stay on the ship, you have no hope of staying alive. No one will lose his life. Only the ship will be destroyed. I know this. Paul took God at his word, and he believed. We must take God at his word and believe in him and his promises. No life was lost on Noah's ark because Noah believed in God. No life was lost on Paul's ship, even though the ship was destroyed, because Paul believed in God. Jesus Christ is our ship, and no life will be lost in him, because all who believes in him and God's wonderful promises will be saved. We must trust God that everything will turn out as he has said. If we don't stay on the ship, we have no hope for staying alive. Jesus said, we must always pray and never give up. I'm Pastor Larry Cobb of the Redeeming Light Ministries. You have a blessed day.